Coming up on the Lakers Report, I'm going to answer some of your questions as part of a Lakers News and Rumors Mailbag. We also have a LeBron James injury update, but first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're pushing out multiple videos per week. NBA trade deadline coming up on February 10th. We cover this team during the season, during the offseason. We always have you covered because we are a channel of Laker Nation. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Let's get the 41K. Welcome in to the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Today's show presented to you by our friends at Fetch Rewards. This app has been a game changer for me. No matter where I make a purchase, large retail store, local mom and pop shop, I scan my receipts, and by doing that, I'm able to rack up bonus points, which then leads to me getting free gift cards. You can do it too. Head to chatsports.com/fetch, enter the promo code Lakers, and upon sign up by using that link down below, you get 3,000 bonus points. I'll put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. We start off today's show with an injury update on LeBron James, and he's going to be out for who knows how long. Hopefully not too long. Of course, he did miss time earlier this year, and throughout his Lakers tenure, he's missed some games because of nagging injuries. This one kind of fits that bill. So LeBron James out with the knee injury. He flew back to Los Angeles on Saturday. He got an MRI. Luckily for the Lakers this year, a team that's really struggling, as we know up to this point, we've documented it plenty of times, that MRI showed swelling. So he's going to be out for the rest of the road trip. That was the update from head coach Frank Vogel. So hopefully this is not something that lasts a long time. Back in December, LeBron James turned 37 years old. He hasn't looked 37 this year. He's been a bona fide MVP candidate because up to this point, he's having one of the best years of his career. Crazy to think that. Tom Brady looks as though he's going to retire. LeBron James is still going, and he's still playing at an elite level. 29.1 points per game this year, most in more than a decade, going back to 2009-2010. He's shooting little less than 53% from the floor. That's his best mark since 2017-2018. And field goal attempts. He's had to put the team on his back offensively, and he's had no problem putting up shots. Almost 21 field goal attempts night in, night out. That, too, the best mark for a long while, going back to 2007-2008. So we've seen LeBron get injured a couple of times over the last couple of years. So I want to ask you this. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. Your concern level with LeBron's injury, considering the injury past. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, not concerned at all. 10, very concerned. If you get hit with that YouTube ad break, just scroll on down and get your votes in. Now we pivot to mailbag time, where I take all of your questions from our loyal subscribers. That's another reason why you got to subscribe to the channel. This first one coming in from EDM Records. Do the Lakers have any plan for THT, Kendrick Nunn, and Russell Westbrook? You're talking about trade plans here, and I think this is something that's going to go up until the February 10th NBA trade deadline. Up to this point, a couple of different rumors about varying levels of interest for those players. Really, for me, some of the lone trade assets that the Lakers actually have, meaning assets that other players like, it's THT, it's Kendrick Nunn, and that's really about it because other teams out there don't want the contract for Russell Westbrook considering his level of play and considering how expensive he is for the player that you're getting. So that's the concern with Russell Westbrook. There is a report out there from Chris Haynes, and we'll get to that here momentarily, that the Lakers are targeting and eyeing one of our best friends here on the channel, Buddy Hield. It was my opinion, my belief, that the Lakers should have traded for him and not Russell Westbrook over the offseason. Is it going to finally happen? This coming from Chris Haynes. Let's take a look at this report. League sources have told me the Lakers have reached out to the Kings about a Talen Horton-Tucker package for Buddy Hield. Still trying to make that happen. Obviously, the Kings are like, no, we feel like there's more lucrative deals out there. The Kings are going to be active. They've got a whole bunch of people calling them. And as far as Buddy Hield goes, a reason why I like that potential trade, before the Rush trade went through, he's a sharpshooter. He's got the bazooka. He's got the flamethrower. Very good three-point shooter. 2017-18, number 7. Number 8 the following year. And then the last couple of years, as a lot of people have really done a good job of developing their three-point games, Buddy Hield's kind of fallen off a little bit, but 37% is still very, very respectable. My message here, if you fail once, try again. The Lakers look to have been interested in Buddy Hield, and then Russell Westbrook, and that trade comes to the horizon, and the Lakers pull the trigger on that instead of Buddy Hield, and they realize now, Rob Pelinka, yeah, I might have made a mistake. Let's try to get Buddy Hield back. I just don't think the Kings should or would take that deal that would center around THT. Do you think the Lakers should trade Talen Horton-Tucker? You let me know in the comment section right now. Your opportunity to voice your opinions and sound off and be as much a part of the show as I am. Type T for trade, type K for keep. Let's get to this next one from Andrew. Do you think the Lakers get John Wall? The only way they get John Wall is if they trade away Russell Westbrook. That's really the only deal that can actually happen because both of their salaries are very, very similar. Now, if John Wall reaches a buyout with the Houston Rockets and he decides, look, I haven't played this entire first half of the year. I actually want to play basketball. I don't care about my salary this year because I've already made a bunch of money as a very, very good player. Then maybe the Lakers could sign him. But as far as a trade, it's Russell Westbrook for John Wall, and that's about it because their salaries are almost identical. It's not great that we're at this point, by the way. We're at a point where we're like, okay, can the Lakers go after John Wall? That means that this roster is flawed. That means that this roster has some holes. John Wall was able to come back last year after some really bad injuries, and he played very well. Hasn't played this year not because of those aforementioned injuries, but because there's a youth movement in Houston. I have said this, though, here on the Lakers Report. I think in terms of fit, not John Wall being the better overall basketball player, but in terms of fit, I think John Wall could be a better fit than Russell Westbrook on this team. So those are kind of my thoughts on John Wall up to this point. You get to this point where you're talking about John Wall, it's not great, but unfortunately, that's a predicament that the Lakers are in. As I mentioned off the top, today's show presented to you by the Fetch Rewards app. Free download and 3,000 bonus points by plugging in that link down below, chatsports.com/fetch, and enter the promo code Lakers. You scan a receipt no matter where you make a purchase, and with that, you're able to get bonus points for simply taking out your phone, hitting that orange button, and scanning your receipt. Over time, all of those bonus points accumulate, and then you can get free gift cards to places like Amazon, Target, Starbucks, Fanatics. Now, the technology on this app is really, really incredible. It's able to identify when you take a picture of that receipt where you made your purchase from. But last night, let's say I made a purchase, and I did because I went to see the Tom Segura comedy show. It didn't register where I made that purchase, so I just filled it in just like you saw in that video to the right. So earn points on any receipt from any store or restaurant thanks to the Fetch Rewards app. Free gift cards, folks, and a free download by just hitting a button and scanning your receipt. It's that easy. So too is going to chatsports.com/fetch and enter the promo code Lakers. Jarrett, loyal viewer and subscriber of the Lakers Report, will Los Angeles trade for Myles Turner or Jerami Grant? Who will they trade with? So just to give you a heads up, Jerami is spelled with an I, not a Y. I got you covered, homie. I'm not sure if the Lakers are going to trade for Turner or Jerami Grant. On the Turner front, I don't think they have the assets to give up in order to take him in and bring him back. As far as Jerami Grant goes, the same thing can be applied. Limited trade assets for a player who has a lot of value for the Detroit Pistons' point of view, but other teams across the NBA. When organizations part with really good players, let's say Myles Turner, who this year, before suffering that stress reaction injury in his foot, 13 points per game, 7 rebounds, almost 3 blocks. Like, he's leading the league in blocks the last 2 years and shooting around 51%. He can stroke it from 3 as well. And then for Jerami Grant, before that injury, 20 points per game, 41% from the floor, 17 field goal attempts per night as well. Like, you have to give up really good assets in order to get good players in. And if you're the Pistons, if you're the Pacers, and you might start that rebuilding process, do you want to start the rebuilding process by trading away these not really blue chippers, but middle tier stars for a player like Talen Horton-Tucker and Kendrick Nunn? I mean, the answer to that is, if you're running the business, is no. And that's part of the problem with where the Lakers are at. If you could trade for one, though, which player would you make a deal for? Wheel, deal, seal it. Let me know. Type MT for Myles Turner, JG for Jerami Grant. Hectic highlights. Can the Lakers realistically get a 4th star? Do they really need a 4-star? And can they get a 4-star? No, for all of the reasons that I've talked about on today's show. Look, there aren't many teams, if any, in the NBA who have a big 4, like 4 bona fide stars. That's pretty damn rare. I mean, those Miami Heat teams, certainly. Those Warriors teams, do you put Draymond Green as like a star? Yeah, he might be the most valuable player on that team because of what he gave them on both ends of the floor, in addition to Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. But I'm not sure if that was like a big 4, you know? And right now the Lakers have Anthony Davis, they have LeBron James. Unfortunately, Russell Westbrook, I think, is on the downside of his career. They don't have the players to give up for a 4-star. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of draft picks, and there aren't a lot of teams who actually have the ability to absorb those contracts where they can have 4 stars. AD, LeBron playing at their best. You get into the Western Conference playoffs, Lakers are a dangerous team. They have to bank on that this year. Hopefully, both can stay healthy. Another reminder to subscribe to the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. We're a little more than 200 people away from 41,000 subs as one of the largest and best Lakers News and Rumors channel on YouTube. Hit that red subscribe button. Also, though, turn on those notifications. Therefore, anytime we push out a video, if we go live heading into the NBA trade deadline, you'll be notified. Chug City. Are there any free agents the Lakers could look at? Free agents looking ahead. So, right now, the top NBA free agents, look, they're free agents for a reason, folks. And it's been a weird, funny, wonky year where we've seen some of these players who were playing in the early 2010s come back to the surface and give teams minutes because of COVID issues. These are the top NBA free agents right now. Darren Collison, Al-Farouq Amino, Jordan Bell, and Aaron Baines. Baines coming back from this horrific fall in the Olympics where he was on his way to the bathroom in between the third and fourth quarter and suffered a really severe injury. I like him when he's healthy. I do worry about that injury, though. Lenny Laker. Give me one outlandish trade target for Los Angeles. This is going to be our last one, by the way, so let's end with a bang. How about Ben Simmons? I think Daryl Morey and the Sixers would be crazy, to trade away Ben Simmons for Russell Westbrook, because I think Westbrook would be a horrific fit with Joel Embiid, and I actually would rather have a middle-tier average all-star fringe type of player over Russell Westbrook if I'm Philadelphia trying to maximize that title contention window right now. Ben Simmons is a really good player, and I just don't think Russell Westbrook, Joel Embiid makes a lot of sense. Now, if Simmons were to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, bought a crib there over the summer, we know that he's a Clutch sports guy represented by Clutch and Rich Paul. So too is LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Him running the point would be very, very fascinating and very, very intriguing because he doesn't have to shoot the rock, something that he's not comfortable with doing, and he fills another void for Los Angeles. I think he's the best defender in the NBA. So an outlandish trade target, Ben Simmons, just because I don't think the Sixers would take back Russell Westbrook. What would you do, though? Would you trade for Ben Simmons? Would you try to make it work? I'm sure a lot of you would fork away Russell Westbrook. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Once again, get your votes in. And once again, thanks for watching today's show.